How's it going? Bill for the Vegan Road Trip. Today we're going to learn how to make seitan. This is my first cooking video I've ever made. Hopefully not my last, but please bear with me. Anyway, these are the ingredients you're going to need. You're going to need vital wheat gluten. You're going to need seasonings of some sort. Right here we got rosemary and thyme. You're going to need garlic. We're going to need garlic powder. I prefer the 99-cent store variety, but I'm sure anything you got would be good. And McKay's seasoning, McKay's vegan special. This stuff is great, very versatile. You can make a good tofu scramble with it. We're going to be using this for seitan today. You can also use, believe it or not, for seitan, you can use powder from your ramen soup base. You can also use vegetable bouillon. There's a whole bunch of different things. I'm using this. I usually use the beef, but I'm using this. Why? Because we're gonna have to turn the music down a little bit, or you won't be able to hear stuff well enough. Anyway, so let's get to it, shall we? So first thing you're gonna do, just like you saw in this. First thing we're going to do is we're going to combine the 2 1/4 cup of vital wheat gluten and the rest of our dry ingredients. So this is not an exact science. I'm sure you could be off a little bit and it will still work, but if you're off significantly, it will not. So you're going to put that's 1 cup, and yeah, I have a kind of a small measuring cup. Yes, I do have other ones, but that's all I brought to California. So that's 2, and now we're at 1/4. A little bit more. And yeah, I'm using, right here I'm using Bob's Red Mill. There's other brands out there. They're equally as good. I like to keep this in the freezer to keep it fresh. It doesn't last that long. Okay? So what else do we got? We got a little bit of garlic powder. I do about a teaspoon of this, which I'm, of course, just going to rock like that. Just throw some in there. We wanted a little flavorful garlic salt. I'm just going to throw a dash of this. Why? Mostly because I like the little parsley things in there. But I also like the salt. But this is going to be pretty salty because you're going to have a lot of soy sauce that you're going to be using in this. So rosemary and thyme, I'll just throw a quick dash in there. And that's mostly for looks. Now with this, I'm going to use 2 teaspoons of this. Now, or sorry, 2 tablespoons, my bad, 2 tablespoons. So this isn't the most exact tablespoon ever created, but we're just going to throw 2, and I'm not going to overload it too much. I don't want it to make it too ridiculously salty, so that's what we got right now. And I washed my hands off camera because you're going to want to stir this up pretty good with your hands and make sure that everything's sorted through. So getting a nice sift. Okay, sifty, done. Alright? Next, we're going to get our wet ingredients. And our wet ingredients are going to involve 1 1/3 cup of hot water. It's not going to be super hot, but I'm just going to run this. Maybe warm would be a better way to describe this. Maybe warm water. So it's 1. Okay. Then you got your soy sauce. So I'm going to put in 1/3 cup of that. Add it in there. Okay. Mix that up. Now here's going to be an important part. When I add this to here, I'm going to want it to be nice, and I'm going to knead it together and I'm going to want it to get into a good consistency. I don't want it to be too mushy and I don't want it to be too dry. And sometimes if you put a little bit more and a little bit less, it doesn't come out perfect, in which case I'm going to add a little bit of gluten flour on top of that to get a nice ball. And I'll show you what I mean. So we're going to put this in, take this. So I'm going to do a little bit at a time, a little bit. Again, I'm using my hands. You're kind of making, in a way, seitan is really nothing more than bread. So you're going to be kneading the dough. And next I'm going to add the whole thing in there and just get my hands in there. So you can see the action here. I got pretty much a messy dough-like substance. And you're just going to knead the shit out of it. That's actually the technical term. Technical way to look at it. Knead the shit out of it. You got this ball thing, you're just going to knead it. And this is good. This is what you want here. This is actually pretty cool that I came out with this on my first time. This is what we would call in the Army a first time go right here. Okay? And that's what you want. If it doesn't come out like that, feel free to add a little bit of gluten flour on top to get this. You want a nice solid ball like this. If it doesn't come out like this, and it's too wet, add that. If it's a little too dry, like it's still powdery, add a little bit more water or something and get it like this. Because if it's not like this, tough like this, it's not going to hold up. And if it's too wet, well, it won't hold up. Too dry, I don't know, it'll probably come out like shit. So anyway, you got this. From here, we're going to be putting this together in this pot right here. I've been boiling this. It's pretty much, they say 6 cups of water and about, what did I say, about half a cup of soy sauce. You can also put the bouillon in there. If you're not vegetarian or vegan, I guess you could put a chicken stock. That'd be fucking weird, but you could do that. And we're going to boil that for an hour. When I originally got the recipe, I've adjusted this. It said 45 minutes. I found 45 minutes to be too short personally. Because this is raw flour, and eating this would be gross by itself. But a good hour, it'll be good to go. So I'm going to put this in here. Again, it's pretty nice, nicely formed. Putting this in the boiling water. We're going to let that sit for about an hour. When it starts to bubble up, I'm going to turn the heat down. You know, no big story. You can also throw a little bit of your seasoning in there if you want. I think we're good to go just like that. So we'll see you in about an hour and show you what it came out like. Vegan power.